Hey everybody, this is Brad Dyke. How are you doing? And I have a side project, as my friend Martin would say, at my home. It's not a neat little home off in another country like he's got, but it is an issue that I've got to resolve and try to tackle it. And what that issue is specifically is I have a lot of gear that I've accumulated through all my testing and my years of work and so on. And these are boxes full of motherboards and video cards, and over here are some of the server chassis environments, PCs and open chassis and test models, and over here are some of my test bed environments. Yep, that's a Sunfire 210 down there. That's right, I said Sunfire. And CD-ROM drives and so on and so on. Now the tires have nothing to do with this. My son was in a car accident and we had to take the tires out of the vehicle. But as you can see here, I have a lot of stuff, right? Now, not only do I have a lot of stuff, but I also have a lot of scrap. See that over there? That's aluminum, copper, some gold. And over here is a box full of hard drives that are IDE based and they're dead and gone, and I'm not going to play with them anymore. And of course over here I have server chassis, not fully functional, have operating systems on them, and some young guy can work on them. And I got keyboards and telgacs and telecom configurations. I got punch down boards, and over here I have just stuff, you know, just stuff we accumulate, routers and switches and gadgetries and old joysticks that people like to play with or repurpose for other things. And of course this is my test diagnostic station, where I'm using an old Sanyo monitor TV that's got an VGA output, so I can test this PowerEdge T310 and get it ready. It has Server 2019 on it. It's a very basic, very great, you know, starter system for a young guy or girl who wants to get good at coding and so on. You can put Docker on that and so on. So the whole goal here, and yes, these are fully functional bit miners. There's about four or five video cards in each of them. I will be taking those out. And why am I doing this? Well, I'm actually doing it for you, because it's getting kind of crowded, you know. Now, in this environment, I came up with a couple of really cool things. I thought, well, I'll talk about this garage sale I'm going to have. It's called an IT gear garage sale, which I'm doing. And I need to clear this stuff out first. And I also need to revisit some things that are really cool. So what I found was something I knew I had, but I had talked to you guys many a time about it on my previous videos. But I decided I was going to go ahead and find them, pull them out, and bring them back out so you can see them. So this little guy right here was made in 1974. It has some precursors to x86s. There are none on here at all. These are basic transistor style chipsets that were customized and built by my father. And this is called wire wrapping. If you take a quick look at it, that's right, they wrap wires around posts, and that allows them to bring this into a fairly easy way of deploying these, because if you did it the other way, where you use a circuit board, you have to solder it down and all of that, which inevitably did become the standard, because these chips were loud. They used a lot of voltage, like 24 volts, really high, and RF leakage was terrible, as you can imagine. Look at all these little antennas for transmitting or radiating frequencies. But this guy had the computational processing power of 1/10 of the Apollo processors on the Apollo mission. This was considered absolutely the state of the art at that time, and was used as a voltage sim regulator for making sure the voltage loads were correctly verified here at the 0.4 variant on scale. So here is your standard voltage load, 24 down, and then it would be 0.0000, and they could get everything properly balanced by just hitting these buttons and balancing it out, and then the signal output, which is right back here, right there, would power the whatever was being powered, and would meet the requirements that need to be done. I don't know that much more about that because I'm not a solid state electronics specialist, but I'm sure some of you may know more about this than I do. But what I thought you guys would really, really, really cool get a kick out of is this. This is worth about $5,000. Not because it does something special, but it does something very basic, but in a very special way. Are you ready for this? Welcome to the great-great-great-great-grandfather of RAM. That's right. If you zoom in on this, you'll see tiny little ferrite beads crossed by wires. Each ferrite bead represents a value. This is only maybe 400 bits. Imagine 100 of these inside a chassis that scales a data center floor, and there are 20 of these, all to get RAM capacity that is absolutely dwarfed by the memory chips that we have over here. You would need a great deal of these true classic memory RAM cards for just one of these. Isn't that staggering? Isn't that awesome? This is a true classic. And just to give you an idea of what the busing looked like, look at the mess on this side. These are all gold. There's plenty of gold here, and it's all solid gold. It's not electroplated. And on the other side of this chassis, if you look underneath there, there's another block of RAM. But when I saw this, and I fell in love with it immediately, because I just thought, wow, this is just so awesome. And I have another one that was first generation that's 10 times bigger, and it was only 2K. That's it, 2K. But they would have hundreds of these boards plugged into the Oscars systems back in the day, so that it have enough memory to process what needed to be done. This makes your motherboard look like phenomenal, angelic modernization beyond expectations. So when you look at a standing motherboard design like you've got here, as you can see here on this design, this thing is a staggering building's worth of this memory. A whole building, probably 4 stories minimum. And it would require an extra floor or two just to power them and keep them cool. It was quite an infrastructure, and it was quite an overhead to accomplish this. So I thought you guys would get a kick out of seeing this technology and understand that it's where my father used to work, and where I came from. I'm not an electrical engineer. I've kind of gone above the solid state environment and become more of an architect at the micro stack technology level, where we work with things in units now, opposed to itemized components like you saw back there. But the really cool thing is these are rare finds, because most of the stuff gets turned into scrap and reprocessed for the next thing. And it's okay to keep a couple of these treasures, you know, at least from the memory of your own father. My father made many devices that are, electrical based, and they have involved in electronics, but both analog and digital. And he has done the Heathkit systems, if you guys ever remember that reference, the Heathkits of the old days, where you would make your motherboards, your logic setups, and everything like that. But I thought this would be a really cool historical blowback to take you back to the day of how really surprising, when you hold that DIMM in your hand, that memory DIMM, that's where it came from. Seriously, that's its past. I thought you'd get a kick out of that to understand where we're going in the future, because it's not done yet. We've got a lot more to do going forward. Well, this is Brad Dyke. I thought you'd like to have this little side video about getting things done and preparing to do some more complex modelings out there in regards to DevOps, because that's kind of the direction we're going to be heading, away from the OS style instances with patches and stuff like that, into more of a specified Unicode style approach. But I'm going to let you go. God bless, and have a great week. Take care.